This is a map of Florida from 1823. This is the area here in the north that I explored last summer, and that was sort of began the inspiration for the Memory Palaces, which was one of the first areas to be occupied by slave plantations. The Memory Palaces of Florida series began when I was visiting these places in North Florida, these beautiful state parks that I learned were also an area that had a lot of slave plantations. Even though that there was very little evidence that those plantations still existed, I realized that these landscapes themselves contain all this information, contain all this history, contain all this memory, and my work in general is very much about how human history has evolved with landscapes and how the landscapes themselves bear the scars of that human occupation. Things like the oldest tree in Florida, that's seen this whole range of human occupation, that's seen human suffering, and that has a memory of these things. It's the idea that the landscape itself holds the memories of humans. I've always, when I was growing up, I was so interested in all the Greek and the Norse myths and things like that. And the word myth actually comes from the Greek word for story. And so I always loved that concept as a way to access the more eternal past. But in Florida, a lot of times the mythologies have been used to cover up the past and to bury it. And so I find myself, acting as a kind of archaeologist almost in Florida, trying to uncover the truths and access the past. And sometimes it's actual digging into the past. It's doing a drawing of Cutler Fossil Site, where a sinkhole where they discovered, human occupation for 10,000 years, or it's visiting cemeteries, or but most often it's really just getting out into the actual native landscape, especially in places like the Everglades, and standing there and realizing that humans have been looking at the same view for thousands of years, and that we are actually a very ancient place full of a tremendous amount of narrative. And I'm just trying to honor some of those in this artwork. Always thought of myself as a kind of messenger for the plants and animals, that many times I feel much more comfortable conversing with them and being out in nature than I am with humans. And I think that if you can't really connect to the wild that way, then you can't really connect to that more ancient part of yourself and the realization that you are, in fact, an animal in this world. And until you can do that, then you can't really be a good steward for your environment. You're not really going to be in the position to understand what it is you protect and why it's so important. We are not the center of the universe. And so I'm always trying to, through my artwork, encourage people to reconnect with their ancestral wisdom. And it's so easy to do here. All you have to do is drive an hour out into the Everglades, and you can be in this place with no signs of humans and see the same things that people have been seeing for thousands of years. For me, I usually know when a piece is done when I'm kind of sick of working on it. But more broadly, I think I'm especially excited about this series because I see it as being something that I do for many years to come. There are so many places in Florida that I want to talk about as ways to access certain histories. So I'm really looking forward to this being a project that I continue to do for many years. The more I read books, the more I access archives, the more there is that I want to talk about. So I'm just excited to move forward. I feel like I'm just starting to uncover some of these secrets about Florida. And, you know, artists are a little like seismologists, you know, feeling out the tremors of the earth and shifting with the narrative as, you know, the modern stories help to start, you know, inform more and more about the past. You know, it's constant conversation, and I'm hopeful that as we move forward, a lot of these old barriers, these old tropes, these tired lies about the past, they come undone. You know, the curtains of history fall and better truths are revealed, and it's all about people who actually lived and died in this place, you know, not the ones who tried to take over, not the ones who tried to erase the past. And I'm just hopeful as we move forward together that we come up with these better stories together.